Hey everyone, so sorry about the missed episode last week. We had recorded it, but unfortunately I got pretty ill, and so I wasn't able to finish the editing. So as a special treat, and to catch up, we are dropping 2 episodes today, episode 189 and episode 188 from last week. So now for Thanksgiving week, you can be thankful that you get double Movies You Missed podcast episodes.
Hell yeah, double trouble, double mint gum.
Hello and welcome to Movies You Missed podcast and a very special Thanksgiving episode. Now, as many of you know, if you've been around for more than one Thanksgiving with us, we usually do a political thriller episode. However, we actually decided to do something a little bit different. We are going to be thankful this week. And this year, unfortunately, we lost 2 acting greats, so we wanted to be thankful for both of them and their careers.
Absolutely.
So this week we are honoring both Diane Keaton and Robert Redford.
Yes, we are. 2 cinema greats.
And so we picked 2 of our favorite movies of theirs, and we're also, of course, going to discuss their careers and some other movies we love, just to celebrate them as artists and what they contributed to movie history. So thank you everyone so much for joining us. We hope you are having a lovely Thanksgiving week and have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow if you are in America. If you're in Canada, you had Thanksgiving last month. And if you're somewhere else, you probably don't celebrate Thanksgiving at all. However, no matter what, thank you so much for joining us this week here at Movies You Missed Podcasts. I'm V.
I'm John.
And we love to recommend movies to you that either flew under the radar, that we feel did not get enough love when they were released, or movies that maybe we've forgotten about that we'd love to revisit. I think both of the movies this week fall under that category.
Oh, absolutely.
And no matter what, we never, ever spoil movies here.
Not a single spoiler.
And beyond picking a theme every week so John and I can choose movies for the episode, we also love to discuss the new movies we've seen in theaters or on streaming this last week.
Oh, yeah.
All right, John, let's go through the list of movies you saw.
All right, let's do it. I did see 6 new movies over this last week.
Okay.
3 on streaming, 3 in theaters.
Awesome.
Yes, I will start with the one, as I usually do, that I liked the least. Although I didn't hate the movie, it certainly had a lot more laughs than I thought. It's more on the dark comedy side than horror side, but this is a film starring Ray Nicholson and Samara Weaving called Borderline.
Haven't heard of it.
Oh yeah, it's about a stalker that is completely obsessed with a pop star. It's set in the 90s. And apparently it is a take on a 90s incident between Madonna and a stalker, so it's kind of like a retelling of that. Yeah, like I said, it's on the dark comedy side. Ray Nicholson was great. If you don't know him by name, he was in Smile 2. He was also in Novocaine. In a couple other movies, he's also Jack Nicholson's son.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so this was a Nepo baby movie, but that's okay.
Because on both fronts.
Yeah, Samara Weaving and Ray Nicholson. I give it a solid C. It's worth your hour and a half if you're looking for something to just shut your brain off and go along for the ride with.
Okay.
The next movie I saw was similar in like world for me. This was Kevin James and
Alan Richson.
The other guy. Yeah, Alan or Alex? Alan Richson.
Mm-hmm.
Playdate, I believe, V, you watched this one last week.
I did.
Very entertaining, completely forgettable. I think my favorite moments actually were with Isla Fisher the most. Overall, I definitely laughed a lot more than I thought I would. Another solid C movie. Definitely worth your time if you have nothing else to watch.
Yeah, or if you love either of those actors.
That's true, yeah, if you do. And I like Alan Richton. I've seen him a couple of times, and I'm a Kevin James fan, so it was something that I didn't absolutely hate spending my time with.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into the movies that I saw in theaters now, because I want to save the best for last. I went and saw Sisu: Road to Revenge.
Ooh, I'm excited for the sequel.
Hell yeah, and it is a bitchin' sequel. It is bloody and action-packed and a lot of fun. I think Sisu is better, but this one is definitely a great sequel. Absolutely worth your time. If you've seen the original, please do see it in theaters if you can, as that is really more directed towards you, V.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend you see it. I know you will definitely enjoy it.
Good.
And the next movie that I saw was actually the same day. I pulled a double feature on Thursday after seeing Sisu: Road to Revenge. I went and saw Osgood Perkins' new directed film, Keeper.
Another movie I haven't heard of.
Oh, yeah. I saw the trailer for it a few months ago, and I liked the trailer, and I am a big Osgood Perkins fan. I definitely like Long Legs and the Monkey, so I was excited for this one. And this one is really fucking cool. It is a little bit different than I thought it would be. Certainly freaky, not really horrifying or scary, but it definitely was a lot different than I thought it was going to be. So I enjoyed that about it. And if you are an Osgood Perkins fan, I highly recommend checking Keeper out.
Well, I really like the monkey, so maybe I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy Keeper. It's an acquired taste movie, like a lot of movies in that genre are, but it was a surprise for me.
Cool.
The last movie I saw in theaters was a sequel, or a part 2, or however you want to call it. It was a Wicked weekend here at the house. My wife is a big Wicked fan, so ultimately we ended up pulling a double feature, watching the first one at home, and then going to see Wicked for Good.
What'd you think?
I enjoyed it very much. I liked it quite a bit. I am a fan of the first one. It certainly gets me in the feels in certain moments, and this one is no exception. It's certainly got the tears flowing, and it was very, very entertaining. A lot of really good action, and it's a little darker than the first part, which I liked. And the songs were great. There's 2 new ones, which is likely because they're trying to get Oscar consideration for original music, which is totally fine. They were all right. Amy liked them more than I did, but I liked the songs from the play more so than the new ones written for the movie. But overall, I would give it like a B+. I think the first one is better, but it's still a really good movie, and the finale of it all was really cool.
I've been really torn on whether or not to go try to see this in theaters. I did watch the first one this year. It was after the Oscars, but I did get around to watching it because I knew the second one was coming out, and it's very hyped up.
Yes.
And it's good. I thought the music was good, but I don't know, especially if you say the second one isn't as good as the first one. Am I going to make the effort to go to the theaters or just wait till it's on streaming in a month and a half?
I would go to theaters for it.
Okay.
That's just my personal opinion. The final movie I watched on streaming was just last night. I've been waiting for this movie for several months. I've been following this movie. I've been following all the conspiracy theories. I have been sleuthing for the last almost 20 plus years, actually longer than that, since my childhood. This is another documentary.
Yes, I saw your post.
Yeah, this is called The Age of Disclosure. And if you have not heard of this movie, this documentary is pretty awesome. It has to do with the fact that the government has been keeping all of the UFOs and alien activity as quiet as they possibly can. Now, a lot of us at this point know that there's certainly something out there, but this one confirms so much more than I anticipated. It's an hour and 45 minutes. My jaw was on the floor. I cheered. I almost cried. I love this movie. It's my favorite documentary of 2025.
Wow. Is that because of the subject matter, or do you think it was well made too? Is there anything that's actually backed up by confirmed reports, or is this all conspiracy?
Oh, no, these are confirmed reports. NASA officials, CIA officials, Department of Defense, the Secretary of Defense, NORAD, the Pentagon, all through government activity from 1940s up till now. The Roswell crash, everything. And I think it is more the subject matter. It's not like, this massively well put together documentary. It is well done. I'm not going to say that. But just the information was everything that I've been wanting. And right. I was completely flabbergasted. I spent like a half an hour yelling at my wife just about how insane it was. And we had a pretty good conversation about the fact that it's just a bit ridiculous if you think that we are the superior beings of the universe. So I highly recommend a lot of people check out The Age of Disclosure. It's on Amazon. You do have to rent it for $20, but it was worth every single penny.
So you're placing that documentary above Sally?
Yeah, I am.
Wow.
I know. That's a wild hot take. But yes. I did love Sally, and I've loved the majority of the documentaries I've watched this year. And I think you're right. I think it is more the subject matter than anything. But I've been waiting for this documentary for the last 8 months, and I almost didn't watch it last night, but I finally did, and I'm so glad. It just came out on the 21st, so it's playing in select theaters across the U.S., and it's available to rent on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is what I watched, all 6 movies. V, what did you see?
I watched one.
Hey, all right.
I watched a crappy sequel again the second week in a row, unfortunately. It's a sequel to a movie you absolutely hated last year, and it stars an actor that I'm not a huge fan of either. This is The Family Plan 2.
Oh, good God. Yeah.
It was okay.
I didn't even finish the first one.
No, it was all right. It was entertaining enough. I think it's certainly a better sequel than Nobody 2. which I just
okay.
talked about. I'd put it right up there with Playdate. It was entertaining, and I liked the actors in it, and it had a fresh enough plot from the first one. It wasn't a copycat, which is one of the reasons why I liked it better than Nobody, too. So I think anyone who's looking for an action comedy, family-friendly streaming movie, The Family Plan 2 is right up that alley, and it's on Apple if you want to watch it.
I don't, but
no,
awesome.
You don't.
Well, very cool. I'm glad that you checked that one out.
Thanks. So you didn't have to.
Yeah, you took another bullet for the team on that one.
Yes.
Much appreciate.
Okay, so now it's time to get into our topic of this week so we can discuss the movies that both John and I picked. As I said, we are honoring both Diane Keaton and Robert Redford. Unfortunately, we aren't going in chronological order this week, but that's okay. That happens. But we are starting, I think, with the funniest movie of the week, and that would be John's pick. John's going to go first since this is an odd episode. John, why don't you tell our audience what you picked?
All right, let's do it. Let's jump into a film from 22 years ago, 2003 to be exact. This film is written and directed by one of my favorites, Nancy Meyers. I've done a movie of hers in the past. I did The Holiday, which was our first year of Christmas movies, I believe.
A movie that you introduced to me despite my sister trying to convince me for almost 20 years to watch it every Christmas with her. And I'm so glad I did because it became one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies.
And very quickly, and it happens to a lot of people that have seen The Holiday because you just can't not love The Holiday.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful.
I actually haven't met a single person who doesn't like that film.
I know like 3 people that are like, no, not for me. And I'm just like, well,
you don't need that kind of
something's wrong
negativity
with
in your
you.
life. Yeah, you should cut them out.
I know. Seriously. I really should, but I'm not going to because some of them are very close to me. This film from Nancy Meyers is titled Something's Gotta Give. This film stars Jack Nicholson, Diane Keaton, rest in peace, Keanu Reeves, Frances McDormand, Amanda Peet, Jon Favreau shows up, and a couple other people that just kind of bounce around here and there. But mostly the cast really just consists of Jack Nicholson and Diane Keaton. But before we get into Diane Keaton and her illustrious career, which she did have quite the badass career, and I have a really cool personal story about Diane Keaton that I've been waiting to tell on this podcast.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, but before we get into all that, let's break down Something's Gotta Give. If you've not seen this movie, like I mentioned before, it's 22 years old now, came out in 2003, December 12th of 2003 to be exact. I saw it in theaters opening weekend with some friends of mine. We movie hopped after we went and saw a movie that V absolutely hates that we did in our episode of Movies We Hate, White Chicks.
That's right.
Yep, this was the movie we hopped to after seeing White Chicks.
Oh, that's right. You did mention that a couple episodes ago.
I did. So Something's Gotta Give. What goes down in this movie? If you've seen it, then you know. You know the hilarity that ensues, the sweet romance that ensues between several different characters throughout this movie. But let's break the story down. We are introduced very early on to Harry, played by Jack Nicholson. We're also introduced to his girlfriend at the time, Marin, played by Amanda Peet. They're on their way to a beautiful vacation in the Hamptons. And we're learning that Harry's a bit of a playboy. He doesn't really date women over the age of 30. Well, he at least gives them 5 more years than DiCaprio does.
That's so awesome that you just said that because my very first note for this movie is he's Leo.
He's totally Leo. Well, good for him.
No, that is really gross.
Well, you know what's really gross is Bill Belichick being 73 and dating a 24-year-old. That's fucking gross.
And he also sucks, and we both hate him.
He does. And Al Pacino was like 85 and just had a kid with his 30-year-old girlfriend or something like that.
Did Robert De Niro.
That's right. De Niro also did. You know, congrats to them all. Hey, why not? Geriatric
so
pregnancies
creepy.
from the old men.
No,
so awesome.
Super creepy. And it just reminds me of this graph I saw last month where the age of the person is on the x-axis and the age of the person that they're interested in is on the y-axis. And so as women get older, the age that they're interested in men, it's related to their age. So if they're 40, they're interested in guys and think guys around 40 look attractive. If they're 50, same, right? And so it goes up in this really nice straight line. For men, it's basically a horizontal line. No matter what age they are, they always think a woman 20 years old is the attractive one. And it was so telling and also gross. But
it's pretty wild. That
very
really
fitting
hasn't changed.
I just saw that. Yeah, no, it hasn't. It hasn't at all.
It's really kind of the ball game for majority of men out there. Now, I'm not going to lie, there are definitely some attractive 20-something-year-olds, but I I'm going to be in an age bracket that I don't want to be in soon.
Very
and I just don't know if, that age that I'm going to be at, if I could mentally be like, oh yeah, let me totally date a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old. No, because they're all just wanting to be influencers and all this other bullshit.
No,
There's
well, I also...
likely no depth to these people. No offense to anybody out there, but it's pretty true.
They just don't have enough life experience. That's the thing. But
There's
I
that too,
practice at the university campus near where I live. I practice rugby there. And so I've been seeing a lot of young men, 19, 20, 21 years old. They all look like children to me. So do the girls that I practice with. So
yeah.
The fact
how do you think I feel being a bartender?
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that men in their 40s and 50s, or 80s as it were, think that these 20-something-year-olds are not only attractive, but adult enough to sleep with, to me, I think is really disgusting.
It's pretty wild, yeah. It certainly is.
So that's the theme of the movie.
That is the theme of the movie. Glad we got that out of the way now and didn't take up most of your time while discussing this movie on your end. So anyway, let's get a little bit more into the breakdown of this movie.
Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. It's a perfectly viable conversation to have, especially with a movie like this. So we meet Harry and we meet Maren. They're on their way to a beautiful weekend in the Hamptons. Like I said, Harry likes to date women that are 30 and under. Maren's an auctioneer, and they met at one of the auctions that she was running, and Harry just couldn't stop raising his paddle to just bet more money so that she could smile at him. They end up getting to the house, and before things get really hot and heavy between Harry and Maren, Erica and Zoe show up. Erica is played by Diane Keaton, and Zoe's played by Frances McDormand. Erica is Maren's mother. Zoe is Maren's aunt. And, of course, this is a bit of a surprise, and I actually really enjoy the first meeting between Harry, Erica, and Zoe. It's great in the kitchen. Absolutely fantastic.
No! Oh, God! What is this? Okay. Okay, you stay where you are. We have a knife.
Do you live here?
Look, mister, I am going to dial 911, and you are not going to move. Zoe, hand me the phone.
No, you don't understand. I'm a friend of your daughter's.
Yeah, I don't think so. My daughter is in the city, and you wandered in here high on ecstasy?
Honestly, if you just...
No, but just stay there.
I was in the Israeli army. I can break you in half.
Hello. Yes, I have an intruder in my house. 29 Daniels Lane, Sagaponack.
I'm dating your daughter, Maren. She invited me here for the weekend. She's in her room right now changing.
Oh! You're dating my daughter?
Now, who would have thought that would be worse news?
Oh, my name's Harry. I'm dating your daughter.
Now, who would have thought that would be worse news?
Yeah, I love it.
That's so great.
I love it. So after this whole mix-up of Erica and Zoe both thinking that Harry is an intruder, they have already got the police on the phone, and then, of course, once they realize what's going on, they're totally fine with it. They hang up. Nobody's getting arrested. Nobody's getting thrown out of the house, etc. All of them start to kind of talk and figure out that they are actually going to be there for the weekend. Diane Keaton's character, Erica, we find out, is a very successful playwright, and she's out in the Hamptons trying to clear her mind and write a little bit. Zoe is a therapist, and they all sit down to dinner after much deliberation of the fact that Maren and Harry can definitely stay and be in one side of the house while Erica and Zoe are on the other side of the house and they can do their thing, etc. And the dinner table sequence in this movie is just the dialogue
Phenomenal.
is beyond witty, magnificently written. Nancy Meyers, one of my favorite female writer-directors, absolutely love this. And the back and forth between Harry and Erica when they start talking about the women that he's dated and then the fact that there was an expose done on him and who he used to be engaged to. And he's like, oh, women your age love that about me. And he's like, well, you know what I mean. And I love her reaction, the way that her face drops. She's like, yes, I do. I know what you mean by that. And then Zoe has this incredible breakdown for who these two people, Erica and Harry, are on their own. And you guys got to listen to this because it's fantastic.
Come on, this is really fascinating what's going on at this table.
Zoe teaches women's studies at Columbia.
Okay, so this is gonna hurt.
No. Look, let's take you and Erica, for example.
Zoe.
Harry, you've been around the block a few times, am I right? What are you, around 60? 63. Oh, fantastic. Never married, which, as we know, if you were a woman, would be a curse. You'd be an old maid, a spinster, blah, blah, blah. So instead of pitying you, they write articles about you. Celebrate your never marrying. You're elusive and ungettable, a real catch. Then, there's my gorgeous sister here.
No, wait,
Look,
what?
Listen, no, this is
No,
interesting.
listen, you listen to me.
Look at her. She is so accomplished. The most successful female playwright since who? Lillian Hellman? She's over 50, divorced, and she sits in night after night after night because the available guys her age want somebody, forgive me for saying this, honey, but they want somebody that looks like Marin. So the whole over 50 dating scene is geared towards men leaving older women out. And as a result, the women become more and more productive, and therefore more and more interesting, which in turn makes them even less desirable because, as we all know, men, especially older men, are threatened and deathly afraid of productive and interesting women. It is just so clear. Single older women as a demographic are about as fucked a group as can ever exist.
I love it. I love the cutaway to Erica dropping the plates and her just going into her sister about why did she have to say this and why did she have to break everybody down and make her look like a complete loser, basically. That whole bit, I think, might be one of my favorite things Frances McDormand's ever done, truthfully. She's done a lot of great. She really has. But I love her in this movie because it feels like she almost is just riffing. Like it's almost not even written down.
Absolutely. It's one of my
It's so
favorite
natural.
pieces of dialogue in the whole movie, and I wished she was in the movie more. I totally agree. One of my favorite performances of hers. It felt so real. She's so cool. I want to be friends with her. And I wish she had more screen time in this film. That's my only complaint.
I will agree with you 1,000%. So dinner's over. Marin and Harry are now going to go have a little bit of fun, a little after-dinner dessert, if you will, and Erica and Zoe are in the kitchen cleaning things up. Unfortunately, Harry starts to not feel so good and ends up having a heart attack in the house. And now these ladies got to get Harry to the hospital or get an ambulance there ASAP to save his life and keep him from, unfortunately, passing away on Erica's floor.
Yeah.
They all get to the hospital, and who do they meet? They meet Julian Mercer, played by Keanu Reeves.
In, I think, the hottest he's ever looked, and that includes Speed.
Well, yeah, he's got the doctor coat on, so yeah, just about any man that looks like Keanu Reeves looks great in a doctor's jacket.
That was just a perfect age for him, and that haircut was so complimentary. Everything about and the way he talked. I don't think I've ever seen Keanu hotter. And I have not
even in John Wick, huh?
I've not even really ever thought he was attractive. He's a good-looking guy, but
he's an interesting-looking dude.
He did something to me this movie that was new.
I think it was Nancy Meyer's writing and just
agree.
the way that
Totally.
but again, and that's another thing too, that this movie kind of showcases Keanu Reeves acting a little bit more, other than being the heartthrob in the movie or the action star.
He was so much softer.
He's very calm. Yeah, he's calm. He's a doctor, so he's got that like level of volume in his voice that's like totally doctor status, and you feel calm. And I love when he's bringing all the girls tea and they just keep batting their eyelids.
Oh my
to him.
God.
And of course Erica's just like, oh, thank you very much, and she's not paying any attention. No. But that's the other thing that's really interesting about this is that Julian comes out of Harry's room, is like, oh, don't worry about it, to Marin. He's like, well, your dad's gonna be all right. And she goes, oh, he's not my dad. He goes, okay, well then your granddad's gonna be all right. And she's like, oh, no not my grandfather. And then Erica gets involved in the conversation, and she tells Julian who she is, and he immediately is like, Erica Berry, the playwright, like he's a major fan of hers, so he immediately is connected with Diane Keaton's character and completely has an attraction to her immediately. As you can tell, it's very, very obvious. So anyway, it's now time for Harry to be discharged from the hospital, head back to the city, and continue living his life of a playboy and working in the business world that he works in, which is mostly record companies, which we find out later on in the movie. On his way out of the hospital, he steps off the wheelchair and passes the F out again in the parking lot. And Julian tells him that he can't let him travel. He's got to stay somewhere where he can keep an eye on him, and he's close to the hospital. So what happens? He moves in to Erica's Hampton's house in the guest bedroom and starts to heal up over there. Marin, unfortunately, has to go back to the city to continue with her job, as does Zoe. So Frances McDormand and Amanda Peet both leave Diane Keaton and Jack Nicholson alone in this house together. And based off the dinner sequence, everybody's already feeling the tension because Erica's not really taking to Harry so much. Of course, everything with him having a heart attack was very intense for her, and she's trying to work out this new play and trying to get things together in her life because she's also been recently divorced by the director of all of her plays. So she's got a little bit of baggage that she's carrying around, an emotional baggage, and just like any other human would have. You know, you're trying to get over something and trying to deal with it in your own right. So for the next week, Harry's got to lay low and keep activity to a minimum And he actually asks Julian, the doctor, when he can have sex again. And Julian says, if you can climb a set of stairs, you can have sex again. So for most of the movie, for a good portion of it, we watch Harry try to make his way up a flight of stairs. And also, he and Erica start to spend a lot of time together, especially in the middle of the night, because as we know, people over 60 don't really sleep. They start to spend time together, really get to know each other, and Erica and Harry start to kind of form a bit of a flame relationship together. And the dialogue is very, very witty. Again, it's very good. It's very well written. The acting in every scene that they share together is fantastic. And for the rest of this romantic comedy, we are along for the ride while Erica tries to write her play, while she resists the urges and the flame that has started to grow inside of her for Harry, and vice versa, while Harry tries to resist the flame that's growing for him for Erica. And there's also another sort of love triangle happening with Julian and Erica. And we just are treated to a very, very sweet, very hysterical, from beginning to end, romantic comedy from Nancy Meyers starring two Hollywood greats. This is my favorite Diane Keaton film. It has been since I saw it. I was 17 when I first saw it. I saw it with a buddy of mine and a lady friend of ours. We were not in a throuple. We were just all hanging out one night and went and saw these movies. I have this on DVD. I have introduced so many people to this movie, and it really does break my heart that my wife didn't watch it with me because she goes, no, it's kind of a gross movie. And it's not at all.
What?
But, yeah, because Jack Nicholson and Diane Keaton were older, quote unquote. And what's interesting
she
about
needs to watch
Amy
her mouth,
saying that,
considering she's getting closer to 42.
I know. But piggybacking on that, 20th Century Fox was approached to produce this movie, but they said that both Diane Keaton and Jack Nicholson were too old to be love interests in a movie, so they passed on it. So I thought that was fascinating. But anyway,
awful.
Something's Gotta Give. Absolutely love this movie. Makes me laugh every single time. I don't know how many times I've seen it. I've probably seen it 10 or 12 times. I just recently got to experience it back in theaters again, which was amazing. And V, I think this was your second time watching Something's Gotta Give.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very curious how it landed for you.
I remember seeing this when I was either in college or right after, so it only been a little bit since the movie had been released, but I definitely didn't see it in theaters, I know that. I watched it on a whim because I heard it was funny, or it was a rom-com that somebody recommended to me, and so I remember seeing it once and thinking it was clever and funny, but I just basically dismissed it and didn't really think of it again, ever, honestly. I remember bits of the trailer, but I didn't really remember the movie itself, and so I was really excited to revisit it this week because it was basically watching it with fresh eyes. I had the pleasure of watching it with my oldest sister, Suzanne, last weekend. I was so scared after the first 30 minutes that it would not continue to be that hysterical.
Oh, yeah. No, you think it's one of those movies where it'll fizzle out after the first, 25 minutes.
I thought to myself, and Sue and I both looked at each other, we were both like, there is no way it can continue to be this goddamn funny. And it was. Yeah. It absolutely was. It was. Kicking myself that I have not been celebrating this movie for the last 22 years. It is absolutely incredible. It might be my favorite Nancy Meyers movie. Now, granted, The Holiday is sweet and special and one of my favorite Christmas movies. Not to diminish that at all. But in terms of rewatchability, in terms of my love for it, good God, this movie should be on the classic list. It should be in people's conversations when it comes to best rom-coms. Oh, yeah. I love everything about this movie. The setting is gorgeous. I want that beach house. Every actor in this movie delivers a top-notch performance, including Keanu, as we talked about.
Yes.
This dialogue is better now than when I was in my 20s, that's for sure.
Oh, totally. Yes, it has certainly aged very well.
It has, and it's just it's full of heart, but I cannot overstate how much I loved this movie so much. Some of the quotes we've already talked about. Yeah, your dad's going to be okay. That scene was absolutely hysterical. When Diane Keaton and Jack are well, first and foremost, I definitely have to get this out of the way. Yeah, it was super creepy that Jack was 63, or they said he was 63 in this movie, and then Marin is supposed to be 28. And so yes, it's creepy, but when they're driving that car to the Hamptons, the convertible, and they're talking to each other, the only thing I could think of was, I would make so many bad decisions with Jack Nicholson. It's Jack Nicholson. How could you not?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
oozes charm. He could talk me out of my pants just like he talked her out of her pants in her mom's living room. Like, there's no denying it, right? He was the perfect casting for this.
Oh, hell yeah.
I love him so much. He's, and that devilish smile always got me ever since I saw the original Batman back in when I was 5 or 6. He's always been awesome. Anyway, so he's great, and when he and Diane Keaton are talking a little bit later in the movie after he's recuperating at her house, I love when she says, "Your heart attack could be the best thing that's ever happened to me."
Yeah.
I just thought that was so great. And yes, Frances McDormand, she's so good in this movie. I wish she was in it more. And there's a crying montage in this movie. I have never laughed so hard during a crying scene than I did in this film. How does Nancy Meyers just take someone crying without any dialogue and make it so goddamn hysterical?
Oh, yeah. I remember when I
So
first saw
good.
this in theaters and that whole montage began, and the theater was absolutely in tears. Like, and I think us three, were the youngest people in the audience. I think everybody else was 40 and above. And I remember walking out of the theater and people were like, that was one of the funniest movies I've seen in the last 10 years. Like, that was so hilarious. It felt like a real situation, like a situational comedy. And it absolutely does. It's so well put together. And that's the beautiful thing about Nancy Meyers. Even with What Women Want, it's not my favorite, but it's still a well-made movie.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have The Holiday. Well, this came before The Holiday, so something's got to give. The Holiday. She has The Internship, and it's complicated. The Internship I like over It's Complicated, but It's Complicated is still a cute movie. It's just not something that I really resonated with at the time. I haven't seen it since I saw it the first time.
I think we need to rewatch it because you and I are in the same boat for that, and we both probably watched it in our 20s too. And
yes.
I think we'd really like it now that we are over 30 short from 40.
I agree.
And it's one of those movies where I was laughing Sue and I were both laughing so hard. I was doubled up, falling over on the couch. I was laughing so hard. And I will restate what someone walking out of the theater said in 2003. This is one of the funniest movies I've seen in the last 10 years.
Yeah, no, it's so good.
Thank you so much for bringing it back to my attention. I'm so glad that I've had the pleasure of watching this movie again. It is absolutely going to be on regular rotation now.
Oh yeah, I will continually say it. It's certainly one of my favorite movies, and Diane Keaton had a resume like no other. And going back to some of your favorite lines, one of my favorite ones, and the thing about the delivery too is Diane Keaton and Jack Nicholson, their deliveries are just so great. It's the first night that he's staying at Erica's house, and she smells something, and she goes down there, and he's smoking a cigar, and he's drinking whiskey, and he's on his computer and on his phone. And then he hangs up the phone, and she goes to open the window, and she goes, "Isn't it a little late?" And he goes, "Well, it's not on the coast. It's only 3 hours behind there." She goes, "Oh, so it wasn't past her bedtime, huh?" Or something like that. I can't remember exactly what she says, but it's like, oh man,
so good,
so hilarious. Yeah, it's great. I love it. It's always going to have a special place in my heart, and I'm glad that I was able to bring it to your attention again, and I'm glad you and Suzanne had a great time watching it. I love it, and I will never stop saying it. This kind of blows me away, but I'm glad that he did it because I chose this movie last year with Billy Bob Thornton. I chose Bad Santa last year, and Jack Nicholson turned that role down. He turned that role down to do this movie.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. I think he would have been great in Bad Santa,
Yeah.
but Billy Bob was the man for Bad Santa. 1000%.
Well, and that's the thing is because you needed an actor who is believable being a Lothario, dating women under 30, but without it being too creepy.
Right.
And then also being charismatic enough where a woman in her 60s would actually find him attractive and not just being a giant man-child douche, right?
Right, right.
He needed to be able to play both sides, and who the hell else could you have cast except Jack Nicholson?
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah, Jack was so perfect for this role. And
yes, he was.
Oh my God, there's a moment in this movie where he wears a black peacoat and this purple scarf.
Oh, that
and
scarf,
it
yeah.
took my breath away. I was like, damn. Yeah.
I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a great scene.
really
Yeah, because he gets out into the night air and he's like, "Showtime."
Yeah.
So great. And Nancy Meyers wrote both of these roles with these two in mind, so it
Perfect.
seems that it was really destined to happen, and so glad that it did. And of course, for those that have seen the movie, I'm sure remember the scene where Harry is walking around in the house in the middle of the night, and he comes across a naked Diane Keaton. And I will never forget that scene popping up when I first saw this movie. My buddy and I looked at each other going like, damn, Diane Keaton. All right. She was looking good for however old she was when she made this movie.
She must work out.
And she was very... she actually had no reservations about doing it. She was just like, I'm at an age now where my body is just a vessel to get around in, so whatever. And hey, it's great. And I love the way that later on in the movie it's brought up, and she doesn't want it brought up, but he just keeps kind of egging on about it. Not necessarily like, oh, well, I saw you, haha. It's just like one of those he's wanting to reassure her that he's never going to bring it up again, but yet he keeps bringing it up. She's like, that's still talking about it. So fucking good. I love this movie so much. I don't have a whole lot of BTS, so we could literally just talk about how great the movie is.
Well, I will say the only reason it's not an A+ in my mind and it's an A instead is because I think the ending is just slightly complicated. I think it could have been a cleaner ending. I wasn't really happy with how a certain setup happened. And so it's not horrible, and it's not going to ruin the movie, obviously, but it's just, I understand why they did it, so it made the ending a little more complex than, say, a straightforward regular rom-com ending. And I agree. I think that was smart. But it didn't quite. There was a part that I thought wasn't handled as well as I thought it could be, and so that was my only critique about this movie. Otherwise, great movie.
Sweet. Now, similar to The Holiday, the exterior of the house that Erica lives in the Hamptons was real, but the interior was built on a soundstage.
Damn it! I will have to break.
I know.
Well, Suzanne now has received that bad news because she listens to the podcast, but we both were just swooning over that house and fantasizing about owning a beach house in the Hamptons the whole time.
Hell yeah. Any time I see the Hamptons, especially in White Chicks, I'm like, man, I could live out there. This was not the first time Jack Nicholson and Diane Keaton had worked together either. They worked together in a movie from 1981 written and directed by Warren Beatty that actually my dad chose for Father's Day, but it was a 3-hour epic, and we decided to go with something else, and it's a film called Reds. And I actually just gifted my father the vinyl soundtrack for that movie on his birthday, and he keeps telling me that one day we got to sit down and watch it. So I do got to check out Reds. I have heard from other people other than my dad that it is a wonderful film.
My mom said the same thing because I mentioned to her what your dad's list was. Well, I mentioned to both mom and dad what your dad's list was, and they both said it's a very good film. We definitely need to get it watched at some point. Yeah, we want to have an extra 3 hours.
Exactly, yes.
I just need to pick another epic with it is what needs to happen.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of those out there. Mm-hmm. There's a scene later on in this movie where Erica runs into Harry at a restaurant after they kind of had a somewhat of a falling out. And that scene is actually taken from real life because that similar situation happened to Nancy Meyers after she ended up getting divorced from her husband. And the location that it takes place in was actually mirrored from the restaurant that it actually happened in real life in. I just appreciated the fact that Nancy Meyers reached deep down and pulled out a personal experience of hers and threw it into her movie. And it's a great scene, but it's definitely a bit of a tough scene as well.
Well, and why is it always... Thank God Erica was able to look as fantastic as she did in that scene, because usually the rule in real life, not just in movies, is that whenever you run into your ex, you look like you've been hit by a truck.
Yeah.
Why does the universe do that to us?
I don't know. It happened to me a couple times when I was younger. I gained like 10, 15 pounds, and then an ex and I saw each other at a music store, and I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah. That sucked.
Or people from high school that bullied you that you want to look like you're grown up and have moved on, and you're going to the store for your parents or something, and you are in sweats and your shirt has stains on it or something. Oh, it's the worst. Speaking of, considering it's the holidays and that's usually when it happens, it's a good time to talk about that.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. Now, V, there is a movie that two actors that are in this movie appear in together, another past pick of mine. This past pick was from 2000. This is Keanu Reeves and Jon Favreau. Can you name the movie? It was a comedy. Gene Hackman's also in this movie. Football.
Oh my God, The Replacements. Yes, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was stuck on Christmas movies, and so all I could think of was Four Christmases with Jon Favreau, and I was like, I know Keanu Reeves is not in that film.
That would have been hilarious if Keanu Reeves popped up in that one.
If he was the new boyfriend of the mom, Sissy Spacek, that would have been...
Oh, yeah, that would have been hysterical.
But yeah, The Replacements,
that would have been great.
Actually, I just rewatched last week because it happened to be on a streaming service that I was looking at. I was like, what the hell? And I watched it again, and it's so great. I love that film.
Diane Keaton was nominated for a bunch of awards for this movie, including the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy
Hell yeah.
for the 61st Golden Globes. She ended up winning, which was
good.
great.
Oh, she totally deserved it.
Agreed, indeed. Jack Nicholson was also nominated for this for Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. He did not win, though.
I really liked him and this movie so much better than As Good as It Gets.
Oh, for sure. As Good as It Gets, I always thought was a Nancy Meyers movie.
I always thought that too, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, it has like a similar feel to it.
So does It's Complicated with Meryl Streep,
yes.
Steve Martin, and Alec Baldwin.
Which, yes, but that is a Nancy Meyers movie.
It is, yeah, but I've always gotten those three movies kind of lumped together.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I see. I got you. So that's pretty much the BTS that I have. The budget for this movie was $80 million.
Totally believe it, given the cast.
Yeah, and the sets that they built to be in the Hamptons. They did shoot in Paris and in the Hamptons and all over New York City and a lot of sound stages at Warner Bros. Doesn't it look like it's a green screen?
Absolutely.
It totally looks green screen.
100%.
No, they shot, they were in Paris.
No, I turned to Sue and I told her, I was like, they're not in Paris.
Yeah, no, they are. They were. They were. It's
corrected.
a weird shot. It's
the lighting's
so strange.
wrong, then.
Yeah, I feel like it was complete skeleton crew. They just like popped a fucking camera in a bag and flew across the the globe to get that one shot done. So that's the locations and the budget. But real quick, because we are talking about Diane Keaton, I wanted to get into a little bit of her credits, which I don't usually do. Mm-hmm. And then I'll tell you how well this movie did in the box office. Now, Diane Keaton, we all know from V's previous pick, she was in The Godfather. She was Faye. She was wonderful in The Godfather. I still have not seen Godfather 2, but I can't wait
to introduce The Godfather 2 to you because she has even more powerful role in it and it just more screen time
great.
too. Oh,
Wonderful.
Hold off watching that movie until I pick it, please.
I'm going to.
Okay,
I'm going to.
Thank you.
We all know her very famously, very famously, from the Woody Allen film Annie Hall.
Yes.
Which I will be completely straight up with. I did not like that movie when I saw it.
I refuse to watch it because it's Woody.
All right, well, you're going to have to watch some Woody Allen movies at some point.
Can we wait till he's
You're at
dead?
Movies You Miss podcast. Well, he could be dying soon. I don't know, but we have discussed separating the person from the art. So
yes, well, you should pick
that's
Woody
kinda
Allen
that
movies,
situation.
and I'll pick Roman Polanski, and it'll just be a Creep Directors episode.
But incredible movies.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I know, it's wild.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So other than Annie Hall, she was also in my favorite Woody Allen movie, which is a film called Manhattan. That's Woody Allen, Diane Keaton, and Mariel Hemingway. I love that film. It's fantastic. She was also in Radio Days, and then the father of the bride films was Steve Martin as Nina, which I love both of those movies. I like the second one more than the first one, though.
Ooh, it's got to be in one of our sequels episodes then.
Oh, I agree, yes. She was also in The Other Sister with Juliette Lewis. She was in The Family Stone, Because I Said So, and just so many other movies. And my story about Diane Keaton that I have is there was a movie theater on Sunset Boulevard called the ArcLight Cinema. It was my sanctuary. I spent so much time at that theater. It was one of the greatest theaters on the planet. They had the Cinerama Dome there. They had a bar inside. They had a cafe inside. They had all this merchandise. It was one of the first theaters where you could choose your own seat. They had incredible caramel corn and a great membership program. I just wanted to give a shout out to the ArcLight because that is where I met so many actors and directors and did so many Q&As and so many premieres of... And there was one afternoon where my wife and I went and saw a movie. I believe it was It's a Wonderful Life. And we finished the movie, went to the bar, started having cocktails. This couple sits down next to us, and I turn to my left, and who's sitting next to me but Diane fucking Keaton.
Oh my God, I've never heard this story.
Yeah, I just kind of looked at her and said, hi, and she said, hello, and went back to her drink. I did not want to bother her, but I was like, I looked at Amy, I said, it's Diane Keaton. And Amy looked over and she goes, oh my God, I love it. And we were both like, oh, we're sitting next to Diane Keaton. It was really cool. And she was very sweet with her little hello. And Diane Keaton, you were a true treasure to the cinematic world. You were fantastic. Thank you so much for your career, and I'm sure Nancy Meyers was very grateful to you. On top of her entire career and this film, Something's Gotta Give, this film, my pick for this week, was Diane Keaton's favorite film that she ever did.
Oh, I'm so glad you picked it then.
Me too, and I actually didn't know that until after she passed away, and Nancy Meyers put a blip of her up on her Instagram.
Oh.
Yeah, so like I said, $80 million budget, domestically $124.7 million, worldwide gross for Something's Gotta Give 2003, $265.3 million.
Good.
Massively successful. One of my favorite romantic comedies, and now one of V's favorite romantic comedies.
Absolutely.
It is currently not streaming on any streaming service, but you can rent it for $3.99. Absolutely worth every cent of your dollar. Watch this movie. It is a gem. You will love it. You'll cry. You'll laugh. And that is Something's Gotta Give. And now I believe it is time to turn the tables and pull out a deck of cards and play some poker with V and all of V's friends. What do you say?
I think that's a great idea. Thank you again so much for introducing all of us to that film, or reintroducing us if some of you had seen it and forgot about it.
Yeah.
I will argue, though, something you did not mention about Diane Keaton is that until this week and watching this movie again, it felt like the first time. Before that, The First Wives Club was my favorite movie of Diane Keaton's, and you hadn't mentioned it, so I wanted to make sure and remind our audience about that movie as well.
Yes, Bette Midler, Goldie Hawn. That's a funny movie.
The three of them together are fantastic, and certainly worth revisiting if you're going to celebrate Diane Keaton's career. Highly recommend that one too. But yes, this movie is worth every single penny. Even if it was $9.99 on streaming, I'd still suggest people go and watch it and rent it.
Oh, yeah.
So again, thank you so much. I had a wonderful, wonderful time watching that film.
I'm so glad.
Okay, as you said, my pick is a little bit different than yours this week, but we are celebrating another Hollywood legend, Hollywood great, Robert Redford.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many movies of his that I could have picked. Yeah. He had such a wonderful career. And I remember you mentioning that you actually don't think you've seen many of his films.
No, I don't think I have. No.
That is okay. That is something I will remedy in the coming months and years on our podcast, because he's in a lot of fantastic films that I'm a big fan of. And there were a bunch that I could have picked from, actually, and I don't think any of them would have been a bad choice. I think John actually would have enjoyed them just as much as I hope he enjoyed this one, because I believe you'd never seen it before.
I had never seen The Sting. I have had a DVD copy of it for the last 12 years and just never watched it.
Well, spoiler alert, everyone, that is the movie I picked, The Sting.
Oh, yeah, shit, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's in the description of the episode. It's fine.
True.
So yes, I picked The Sting from 1973, celebrating Robert Redford, who was born in 1936. Unfortunately, he just passed away this September 16th. And funny enough, this is not the first movie of his that I've picked.
No, it's not.
In fact, we are at the 1-year anniversary of the first film of his that I ever picked on this podcast, because for last Thanksgiving, I picked All the President's Men.
That's right. Yeah, that was a great flick.
And you hadn't seen that one either.
Nope, I had not.
Another wonderful film. I was torn between The Sting, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and also some other great films of his that he was in. The Way We Were with Barbra Streisand, one of the original adaptations of The Great Gatsby. 3 Days of the Condor, The Natural, Out of Africa with Meryl Streep. He was the narrator and directed A River Runs Through It with Brad Pitt, which is a fantastic movie that has been on my list for a year or two. And also, he was in Spy Game when he was a little bit older, and that was with Brad Pitt. Again, they reunited. Right. That is a fantastic film that you haven't seen yet that is absolutely on my list as well. So we will be having more Robert Redford movies in the future, but this is classic. This is one when he was a little bit younger. This showcases a lot of his charisma, and I really like how just snappy he was in this film. I really like how he portrayed Johnny Hooker. And so that's the one I picked, especially because how can you not pick a Robert Redford film that doesn't have Paul Newman in it?
Yeah, I've actually seen the first 15 minutes of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, but I never finished it because I bought it at Amoeba on VHS. I'm like, I'm going to watch this. I know it's been one of those movies. You got to watch it. I just couldn't get into it because it was Western, really. It was just not... I was a lot younger, too, so that's another reason why.
Well, it'll be one of those episodes where we have a Western theme, or we've always threatened to have a Western horror combination just because we pick two genres that we're introducing each other to. So one of these days it'll be on the list, don't worry.
Hell yeah.
And Paul Newman, one of his best friends in life, and everybody always thought of them together. Paul Newman actually died in 2008, so a little bit earlier than Robert Redford. And he plays Henry Gondorff in this movie. Now, what is this thing about? Well, this is a con movie. And if you like Ocean's 11, or actually, Ronin is a little bit of a con movie as well.
Oh, big time.
And I've always been a big fan of con movies, which is one of the reasons why I watched this movie originally. Not only because it's always been listed on AFI's list of one of the best movies ever made, and it's always been very popular. It's currently number 117 on IMDb's top 250. It's still around even 50 years later.
Oh, yeah.
As a great film. And so I think it's certainly listed as a classic, and it's just a really fun movie. It starts off, we get introduced to Johnny Hooker, and he is actually pulling a con on a local bookie. It's a great little scheme. I really like it because in the beginning of the film, you have no idea what's going on. And then all of a sudden, this guy who's a runner who is carrying $11,000. This movie takes place back in the 30s, so $11,000 is a whole lot of money. This movie takes place during the Depression in Chicago. And so he and his partner Luther take this guy for $11,000 who's a runner. And unfortunately, they have now conned a big-time mob boss. And he runs a big piece of Chicago. Now, this man, Doyle Lonnegan, is played by Robert Shaw, a younger Robert Shaw than we are used to seeing because he's Captain Quint in Jaws.
Good fucking God. I'm sitting here and I'm like, I know this fucking face. I know this damn face. And I don't IMDb your movies, so I didn't do it. But I was like, I knew the name. I'm like, Robert Shaw. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. And the movie ended. I'm like, who the fuck was that? I know I've seen him before, but I just cannot place him.
Yep.
Wow, yeah, that's great.
It was Captain Quint from Jaws, who has one of my all-time favorite monologues in all of Hollywood history in that movie, Jaws.
Hell yeah.
I would pick that film just so I could play the audio clip of that monologue. And Robert Shaw, the legendary Irishman who had a great fondness for drinking and had 10 kids with 3 women in a 20-year period.
That's not terrible.
Okay, Eddie Murphy. Doyle Lonnegan is this mob boss who's running half of Chicago. And so unfortunately, Hooker and his friend Luther have pulled a scheme on the wrong guy. And it turns out that not only has Hooker blown all his money in a day, which I think in the 30s, if you have half of $11,000, you could live for several years on that if you were smart about it.
Oh, I can only imagine.
But he blew all his money, and he goes over to Luther's house, and they're talking about it, and Luther is saying, you know what, I'm out of the game, I'm getting older, and Luther is much older than Hooker, and saying, I want to retire, I want to be with my family, but there's a guy named Henry Gondorf. I think you should go to him because he's still running cons, and more importantly, he can teach you. And so Luther gives him that contact information for Henry Gondorf, and Hooker leaves. Well, unfortunately, it has gotten back to Doyle Lonnegan that $11,000 has been stolen from him. And even though he's this big, very successful mob boss who has way, way more than $11,000, he tells his muscle and his guys that if any of the other bosses find out that some con man has taken him, they're going to see him as weak and start moving in on his territory. So to make a statement and set an example, he orders his guys to go after these 2 con men. And so it turns out that Luther gets murdered and Hooker is now being chased. And so he runs and goes to Henry Gondorf, played by Paul Newman, because Gondorf knew Luther. He's pretty upset about the murder as well. They start talking about going after Doyle Lonnegan. And I love their first meeting because Paul is fast asleep on the floor up against the wall between his bed and the wall. He's got his face pressed up. And Robert Redford grabs him and throws him fully clothed into the bathtub, running a cold shower on him to try to sober him up. And this is what Paul Newman says to him during their first meeting.
Glad to meet you, kid. You're a real horse's ass.
And so now that these 2 have met and they're talking about taking Doyle, one of the things that Paul Newman says to him is, look, don't do this for revenge because you'll never get it. You got to take your emotions out of it, and that's how a con is going to be successful. And so they start talking about how they're going to take this man for a little more money, and the first thing they want to do is set up a poker game. And they're going to get Billy involved. Now, Billy is, I think, Paul Newman's girlfriend in this movie, at least female partner. They work together.
Feels that way, yeah.
Yeah, or just close friends. She's a madam, and she's played by Eileen Brennan, who is Mrs. Peacock in the movie Clue.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which I just rewatched in theaters recently. It was awesome.
I still have yet to really watch that movie.
It's okay. Just wait because it's going to be one of my picks for one of our anniversary episodes.
Sweet.
Yep, one of my all-time favorite movies. So he is going to involve Billy, and she's going to help them start setting up the scene. What she does is they all get on a train together. Billy picks Doyle Lonigan's pocket and takes $17,000 from him. Paul Newman finds out that Doyle likes to cheat at cards. And so he joins this poker game that's happening on this train and basically takes all for what he's worth. he beats Doyle Lonigan while being a pompous, drunk, obnoxious prick about it. And he's faking all of that, but he's really trying to rile Doyle Lonigan up. And of course, now that he's won this entire poker game and Doyle has been pickpocketed, he has no money to pay him back. And so there's a bit of a tussle with that. Now, Robert Redford has been set up to go and collect this money, even though he doesn't have it. And he starts saying that, hey, I work for this guy who Paul Newman is saying he is Mr. Shaw, which is funny because that's Robert Shaw's name in real life that they're conning, which is great. So he's saying he's Mr. Shaw, and he runs a games racket in Chicago. And Robert Redford is telling Doyle Lonigan that, oh, Mr. Shaw is a jerk. I don't like working for him anymore. I really want to take him for all he's worth. And I've been working on this for 2 years, and all we got to do is place some bets in these fixed horse races in order to set up a really big bet that would actually cripple the house. And he would never be able to recover from paying this bet on this fixed horse race. And so for the rest of the movie, Robert Redford, pretending to be Paul Newman's employee, is trying to convince Doyle Lonigan to help him place bets on fixed horse races at Paul Newman's gaming house to cripple him and actually take all of his money. And I really like this because there are so many layers to this con, which is true for any good con movie. There's also a whole lot of subplots and side characters going on, including Lieutenant Snyder, who is a crooked cop who's been chasing Johnny Hooker the entire movie ever since his very first con. He's played by Charles Durning, who was in Dog Day Afternoon. He's Governor Pappy O'Daniel in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Pappy O'Daniel, Governor. I love him in Oh Brother, Art Thou so much.
So good.
So good.
He's in the Muppet movie. He plays Les Nichols, that farmer in Tootsie who hits on Tootsie.
Yes. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So good. So yeah, Charles Durning had been around for a really long time and was in some really great movies.
He's also the Lebowski in The Big Lebowski.
That's right, he is. Oh my God, I totally forgot that.
Are you employed, Mr. Lebowski? Employed? You don't go looking for work dressed like that on a weekday?
God, it's been so long since I've seen The Big Lebowski.
Oh, I just watched it again about 6 or 7 months ago. It still has me laughing my ass off.
Oh, it's been more than 10 years for me.
Oh my gosh.
And so not only is this crooked cop chasing Robert Redford, but also the FBI gets involved. There's a hired hitman from Doyle Lonigan who's trying to go after Johnny Hooker because they haven't made the connection of the first con man being Robert Redford who's conning him now, which is great. This is back in the 30s when they didn't have camera phones and pictures that they could share with each other.
Fucking A. So true.
And there is a whole host of other guys who are helping out with this con. There is a massive group of allies that Paul Newman employs in order to get this con going because they need to have a whole gaming house set up as well. It's so great. I love the elaborateness of this. Ray Walston is one of his number 2 guys. He plays JJ, the guy who's reporting on all of the horse races.
Oh, yeah.
So great. I
recognized him, too.
Yeah, he was in The Apartment, one of my previous picks.
Perfect.
He's also a teacher in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and he is the grandpa in the show Picket Fences. And so he'd been around for a really long time. And And I love when the FBI gets involved and pulls Lieutenant Snyder in, and the FBI agent is being such a dick. Snyder's saying something stupid, and the FBI agent goes, "Why don't you sit down? Try not to live up to all my expectations." And that is such a great insult. I need to use it at some point.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So good. Everybody has an angle. And this movie is so, I love movies you have to pay attention to in order for the climax to land. And this is absolutely one of those films. And there's a point when, because Snyder's going all over town looking for Hooker, right? And he's a crooked cop, so he's not going about it in any sort of lawful way. And he's beating up people and crashing in on different speakeasies and things like that. And at one point, he actually even visits Billy's house of ill repute, as it's called, because she's a madam. And he's trying to threaten her, saying, I could call the cops and get him busting in here if I wanted to. And she goes, well, you'd be busting in on the chief of police. He's just up the hall. That's so much.
That was so awesome.
She's such a badass in this film. She's cool as a cucumber. I love her. Completely different character than her character in Clue. It's great. And there's a lot of really fun sleight of hand and really cool setups. And I love this movie. I've seen it a couple different times, and every time I pick up something new, it was so fun. I hope that the ending had a little bit of a twist for you, or at least there were a couple of little surprises for you, that the movie was actually able to trick you a little bit too, as a good con movie should. And I'm really excited to hear your thoughts on it.
All right, let's get into it. This was my first time watching this movie, and I did not know that The Sting was what it was about. I thought it was a cop movie, which I guess to an extent it is, but it's not really like centered on, it's not like a full-fledged drama. I thought it was a drama. I did not anticipate it being funny. The opening bit of the movie when Luther goes down and then they give the guy the money and he runs off, and then they start getting chummy, and then later on he's at Luther's apartment with his family and then his other sidekick, and of course we all know who plays Luther. I don't know if the audience knows, but for a second I'm like, I know that face, and then the mouth, and I was like, oh, that's James Earl Jones' father.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I had no idea.
I don't know his first name, but it's something Earl Jones. And I was like, oh, shit. His name was Robert Earl Jones.
I had no idea. He was actually one of the few people in this movie. I did not look up their credits. And yes, he was born in 1910. He died in 2006 at the age of 96.
Damn.
He was also in the Harrison Ford movie Witness and Trading Places.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know James Earl Jones had a
dad?
had an entertainment family.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Thanks for shouting that out.
Very, very cool. Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've only ever, honestly, if you were to list off some Paul Newman credits, I know of Road to Perdition and The Verdict. And The Verdict, I think, might have been my first Paul Newman movie. My dad and I watched that movie when I was in my early teens, and I really liked that movie. I thought that was a great flick. And Robert Redford, yeah, all the President's Men. He was in the remake of Pete's Dragon. I think he was in that for like 6 minutes or so. And he was in, gosh, I never saw Up Close and Personal. I never saw the one with Barbra Streisand that you mentioned. I never saw Out of Africa. I literally have not seen much of Robert Redford. So this was the second true role of his, I believe, that I've seen. Now, granted, you'll list off some more credits, and it's possible that I have seen some of his stuff in the past, even if he were just like a small character. But anyway, the movie, transitioning from my mind to a heavy drama into a comedy, was a little off-putting, only because I had built it up for so many years that the Sting, because you only ever hear of, we're going to do a sting operation. It's like in a Bad Boys movie or like an NCIS or something like that. So I'm thinking like it's going to be this, like a conversation type of a movie. Like they're going to be tapping phones and it's going to be this whole thing. But anyway, I really liked how it evolved. I really liked the characters. I laughed a lot more than I thought I would, and there were definitely some surprises, especially towards the end when things were starting to come together and things are either going to go one way or another. And there's like you said, you got to really pay attention, because I'm sitting there, and at one point when one of the guys that's about to help put on the con, he goes, "Well, I'm going to need at least 300 guys." And I'm like, they're just shooting the shit. There's no way they need 300 guys for this sting. And then as things start to progress, I'm like, I guess they needed 300 guys. And it worked out. And it all just, the way that it played together was great. Charles Durning was hilarious. Everybody really delivered in the movie. And I thought the direction was great. Soundtrack was a little wonky for me. But
very ragtime, very 30s.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I listen to ragtime and I listen to 30s music, more improvisational jazz than anything in big band. But even still, it just kind of, I don't know. I think for the feel of the movie, the way it was shot, the grittiness of it, I didn't anticipate that kind of a soundtrack. So I was kind of put off a little bit by the soundtrack personally.
Well, it's understandable, especially considering you were preparing for a drama.
I was preparing for a drama, yeah. So
that
it was
score
interesting
comes up
going
in the title
with,
cards in the very first scene,
Yeah.
and you're like, what the hell is this?
pretty much, yeah. And then as it progressed and more of that, I was like, okay, I guess, all right, it's nothing that I played up in my head at all. And I'd never seen a trailer for this movie. All I've ever heard over the last 30 plus years is how great the Sting is, Robert Redford, Paul Newman, da-da-da-da-da. I'm glad that I've seen it. I'm glad that I own it, and I don't know, honestly, how often I would watch it. Like, if my dad came over and was like, let's watch The Sting, I'd watch it. If somebody hadn't seen it, absolutely watch it. I don't think it's going to be one that I'm going to, on my own, go back to too much, but I'm glad that I've seen it, and the cool thing about Robert Redford and Paul Newman, like you mentioned, they were lifelong friends. They had opened a bar up in Sundance in Utah called the Owl Bar. And I've been in that bar a couple of times. It's very small. They have great food, and they have a great whiskey selection, Scotch and bourbon selection. And there is a booth that was their booth, and I got to sit in that booth just for a few minutes. And there's pictures of them all over the Owl Bar, from Butch Cassidy, from this movie, and however many other ones they did. I don't know how many other movies they did together, but I'd give the movie like a solid B+. It was very entertaining. It was very good. I'm glad I've seen it. And I definitely understand why people talk it up the way they do.
Good. I'm so glad that you had a good time with it, despite having completely different expectations for this film until you sat down and watched it. And I agree in terms of confidence movies or movies with a twist, or we've talked about this with comedies as well. There are certain types of films that you can't just watch every single year. It'll diminish them. It'll make it so you don't want to watch them anymore. Instead, this is a movie, and I feel the same way about Ocean's 11 because it's been 6 years since I think I've seen that film. I think I saw it during COVID, so maybe 2020. That was a great film to rewatch during COVID. But you can't just rewatch those movies as seamlessly as so many others, and that's completely okay. And that's not a commentary on the film or the quality or anything like that. It's just there are only certain types of genre that you and I can rewatch as often as that. And I think everybody has those types of films that they love but can't revisit all the time, and that's okay. Yep. But this is certainly one of them, and it's been more than 5 years since I've seen this film, and I loved that I'd waited that long because it was it was fresh again for me, and I was like, oh yeah, this is coming up, and that's right, he says this line, and so yes, it's really fun movie. It's well done. It's certainly one to be reminded of, but I completely respect your opinion on only watching it every so often, and like I said, I'm really glad you had a good time with it and were entertained. And that's the thing, is that there's sometimes I wish where I could at least give you a little bit of prep on a film, right? Where I could tell you, hey, this is a classic, this is a comedy, and so you could go in at least with the right mindset, right? And I think it would be a lot less jarring. Case in point, this week, actually. But yes, Paul Newman, he, first of all, a great guy. He has Newman's own products, all of which, the proceeds that have been donated to charity. He created summer camps for kids. Just all around noted as a very, very good man, similar to Robert Redford as well. And Paul Newman was in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, The Hustler, and then the sequel, The Color of Money, with Tom Cruise in it, HUD, Cool Hand Luke, The Towering Inferno, which is also a classic, Slapshot, The Verdict, as you said. And I loved him in Road to Perdition. That was one of his final films, and he was great in that as well. And
Road to Perdition's a very underrated, awesome gangster flick.
I totally agree, and I really think it should be on your list at some point.
All right. So I literally have seen 2 movies out of all of the ones you've just listed of Paul Newman's career.
Yeah, and I think you'd only seen one other movie of Robert Redford. So I have a lot of inventory of both of theirs that I can absolutely pick for the future to introduce you to, because a lot of those movies are very, very good, and I've seen most of them. So I'll be happy to put them on the list at some point. And And beyond the cast, which, as you said, they talk about needing 300 guys, there are a lot of them. This movie was written by David S. Ward. He wrote Major League, a movie you didn't like. But he also...
I did not like it. It just wasn't...
You didn't like Charlie
okay.
Sheen in it, right?
I think that was the only issue I had, yeah.
Okay. But he also wrote Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And
that's a previous pick of mine.
It is a previous pick of yours, and you introduced me to that film.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't like it, especially compared to When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, I remember.
But George Roy Hill directed this film. He directed both of these guys in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which came out before. It came out in 1969. And he also directed the Paul Newman movie that's about hockey called Slapshot. George Roy Hill used a lot of 1930s techniques in filming this movie because it is set in the 30s. It starts with the 1930s era Universal logo. I'm not sure if you noticed that. But it also used a lot of editing wipes to transition between scenes and shots, and that was very common in the 30s, which I think was really cool. And
I did like the transitional use. That was pretty sweet.
Good. Did you like some of the title cards that came up to show the different acts?
I did, actually, yeah.
Good.
Kind of similar to Sisu. It's like chapter 1, chapter 2.
Yeah. And the cool thing is that with The Sting, George Roy Hill became the first director ever to helm 2 films that grossed $100 million each. Because Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, that had come out 4 years before that, also grossed over $100 million.
Nice.
And Paul Newman and Robert Redford were each paid $500,000 for their roles.
Damn.
It was the highest rate for any actor working at the time. And adjusted for inflation, that is about $4 million.
Not bad.
However, Robert Redford did not see this movie until June of 2004.
Whoa.
Now, Robert Shaw, who plays Doyle Lonigan in this movie, he limped throughout the film. He has a limp.
Yeah.
Well, that's because he injured his knee a week before filming.
Oh, no.
So he had to incorporate a limp into his performance. Unfortunately, he tore a bunch of the ligaments in his knee after slipping on a wet handball court in Beverly Hills.
Oh, snap.
So he had to wear that, literally. He had to wear a leg brace during the entire production, and it was kept hidden because they had nice big 1930s style pants that they wore during this movie. And this movie was produced by David Brown and Robert D. Zanuck. They enjoyed working with Robert Shaw so much on The Sting that they recommended him to Steven Spielberg for Jaws.
Hell yeah. Badass.
Which came out 2 years later, even though he looks way older in Jaws.
Yeah, he does.
That was some good makeup and gray hair.
Hell yeah.
I think you'll really like this piece of trivia. Robert Cohen was a script reader back in the day, and he told the story about how he found this script in a slush pile while he was working as a reader for Mike Madavoy. Mike Madavoy was an agent and then the head of Universal United Artists and TriStar Pictures throughout his career. Mike Madavoy, he produced so many memorable movies. I was going to list some of them, and I was like, I can't list all of these. They're all amazing. And so Mike Madavoy is one of those great Hollywood people who are behind the scenes who we've never heard of before, but is the reason why there are a whole host of wonderful movies that we've seen. So Rob Cohen was working for Mike Madavoy at one point as a script reader, just like I used to do back when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote in his coverage, which is when you're a script reader, you have to write basically a summary page that is just really quick and dirty summary of the script and why you're recommending it. And then you hand that to the producer or the producer's assistant, the next in line for a script, basically. And what you're doing is trying to convince them that this script is worth reading. And so it's a one-pager, and it's called a coverage. Rob Cohen wrote in his coverage that this is a great American screenplay, and it will make award-winning, major cast, major director film.
Nice.
Medavoy said that he would try to sell it because of that recommendation, but if he couldn't, Rob Cohen would be fired.
Oh, wow.
But thankfully, Universal bought it that afternoon.
Nice.
Rob Cohen, from being a script reader, went on to direct The Fast and Furious, the first movie,
mm-hmm.
Triple X,
and
your previous pick of Dragonheart.
That's correct.
So,
he also directed Reign of Fire and Elektra and a bunch of other movies.
Rob Cohen, from script reader, thankfully wasn't fired that day because he had a great career in Hollywood as well.
He certainly did. I actually have a Reign of Fire poster autographed by him.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Yeah. That was given to me as a graduation gift by a friend of mine that knew Rob Cohen.
That's a good graduation gift. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I have it somewhere in the house. I'll have to show it to you next time.
Yeah, I'm shocked I haven't seen that yet. And, well, because it was bought by Universal, this film was filmed on the back lot of Universal Studios.
Nice.
And the diner that Hooker, played by Robert Redford, meets Doyle Lonnegan is the same diner interior that was used in the first Back to the Future movie when Marty McFly meets his father.
It looked a little familiar.
There you go.
Hey, McFly!
Yeah. Now, this movie, I said it made over $100 million. Well, it made a bit more than that. It had a $5.5 million budget.
Wow. And $1 million of that went to both of them.
And $1 million went to both of them, which was totally worth it because worldwide it grossed $156 million.
Damn.
Adjusted for inflation, that is $815 million today.
Wow.
It became the fourth highest grossing film in history at the time, behind The Exorcist, which was released in the same week because this movie was released on December 25th of 1973. So funny enough, both our movies came out during Christmas time.
Yeah.
The Sting is currently number 21 of all-time highest grossing movies adjusted for inflation, after The Lion King, but right ahead of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Damn.
This was the only film that Robert Redford was ever nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor.
Wow.
He was nominated for other Oscars. He actually won one, but that was when he was doing producing and directing, because Robert Redford actually got behind the camera. He directed Ordinary People, Quiz Show, which he was nominated for Oscars for, A River Runs Through It, The Horse Whisperer. He also starred in that movie.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
He directed a civil action, which I always forget. It's a really good John Travolta courtroom movie, civil litigation movie.
Never saw that one, but I remember that one.
It's good. The book's good, too. The Legend of Bagger Vance and Lions for Lambs.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I remember all those movies.
Some of them are really good. He was nominated for Best Picture for Quiz Show, Best Director for Quiz Show. He won for Best Director in 1981 for Ordinary People.
Oh, cool.
That's a movie I've heard really great things about. I haven't seen it yet, but it actually stars Donald Sutherland, Mary Tyler Moore, and Judd Hirsch. It's supposed to be really great.
Ah, nice.
He also received an honorary Oscar in 2002. I also have a story about Robert Redford. Amanda, your wife's cousin, who I'm now really good friends with.
Oh, yes.
She actually used to work for Robert Redford out in Sundance.
She did. Yeah.
And when I saw her actually last month when we went to a Stevie Nicks concert with the four of us, me, Amanda, your wife, and our friend Brittany, she told me all about him, that he was a wonderful man. Everybody called him Bob or Bobby. He would show up on his motorcycle when he came to work, and he was super attentive to everybody. He was soft-spoken, wonderful man. He asked her all about her pregnancy when she got pregnant, and she had nothing but really wonderful things to say about Robert Redford. I'm so happy to report that he was a wonderful man offset as well.
That's cool. I met Amanda around when we got married, and then Amy and I went to Sundance one of the times that we were in Utah, and she was like, oh yeah, like showed us all around Sundance and took us into the whole shebang, and she introduced us to the Owl Bar, so that was really cool. But I never knew any of that about her interaction with him, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to share that story, and I appreciate her telling me about it as well. I'm really glad that you enjoyed this film because it cleaned up at the Oscars.
Oh, I'll bet.
It was nominated for 10. It won 7.
Hell yeah.
As I said, Robert Redford was nominated for Best Actor. It was also nominated for Best Cinematography and Best Sound. It won for Best Music. Sorry.
That's all right.
But Marvin Hamlish won for Best Music Scoring Original Song, Score or Adaptation. Very long category name.
Yeah.
That was one of 3 Oscars he won that night.
Wow.
Because he also won Best Music Original Dramatic Score, that used to be a category, which is cool, for The Way We Were, which is another Robert Redford film.
Damn.
He also won Best Original Song for The Way We Were.
Huh.
So there were at least 3 different musical categories back then, and he won 3 Oscars in one night, which is bonkers.
That is pretty wild.
That's badass. Yeah. The Sting also won for Best Film Editing, Best Costume Design.
Wow, nice.
Best Art Direction, Set Decoration. Totally deserved. They built all those sets.
Oh, yeah.
Best Original Screenplay, Best Director for George Roy Hill, and Best Picture.
Wow.
It was the first Universal Studios film to win Best Picture since All Quiet on the Western Front in 1930.
Damn.
So over 40 years.
Yeah.
Julia Phillips was one of the film's producers, meaning she became the first woman to be nominated and win the Academy Award for Best Picture. And lastly, Edith Head won her 8th and final Best Costume Design Academy Award for this film. During her acceptance speech, she said, "Just imagine dressing the two handsomest men in the world and then getting this."
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
So that is The Sting, starring Robert Redford, Paul Newman, and a whole host of other great actors. I'm so glad I was able to introduce you to this film this week and that you liked it. It's always great news.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it is not streaming right now, but you can rent it, and it is worth every penny.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely worth the rent.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm glad I chose a great Robert Redford film to introduce you to him, and so happy and thankful this week that we can celebrate both these wonderful actors' careers.
Hell yeah.
So this week we are thankful for both Diane Keaton and Robert Redford. We hope you are a little bit too, and celebrate their careers with either watching both of these movies or maybe other favorites from their filmography. Thank you all so much for joining us this week, and we hope you have a very happy holidays, however you choose to celebrate it. And John, do you want to tell our audience what we're doing next week?
I would not mind doing that at all, but first, I'm just curious, V, if you would watch The Sting with your grandmother.
Oh, dear God, I'm failing on my hosting duties. Thank you so much for keeping me honest. I absolutely would watch The Sting with my grandma. It feels like a movie grandmas or grandpas really would enjoy.
Absolutely.
And John, would you watch Something's Gotta Give with your grandma?
I don't know. I'm gonna go with I don't know. I don't know if my grandmother would have liked it, honestly.
I feel like for a rom-com, well, first and foremost, it's very tame in terms of any sex or nudity, other than Diane Keaton, of course, but you don't see anything.
Very true.
But I think it's one of those very few movies that it's a better rom-com for adults than younger people.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
We both love it a lot more now that we're over 30 short from 40 than we did when we were in our 20s.
Very true.
I really, really want my mom and one of my other sisters to watch it.
Oh, yeah, I think they'll definitely enjoy it.
Okay, now that we have that out of the way, thank you so much for reminding me. Now let's talk about what we're doing next week.
Yes, let's do it. We're going to go down the rabbit hole of the master of suspense. We are going to do Alfred Hitchcock flicks, and I'm excited to discuss mine because it is my favorite Hitchcock film, and I have had the pleasure of seeing it on the big screen 2 separate times, and they were both epic. The film that I'm choosing is from 1963, starring Rod Taylor and Tippi Hedren, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. This is The Birds.
A movie that was filmed near my hometown. I've been to a bunch of those locations.
Oh, awesome. If you care to follow along with us, you can rent it on Amazon Prime. I will watch my DVD copy. And V, I'm curious what Hitchcock film you are choosing.
Well, to surprising no one, since there is a Hitchcock film starring Cary Grant, I picked that one.
Hey!
My mom is a really big fan of a couple others, including Rear Window. I think that's going to be one of her picks for Mother's Day one of these years.
Oh, great.
I can't pick Psycho just in respect to my father, who, unfortunately, his brothers took him to see that when he was 10 years old, and it traumatized the shit out of him. And I understand
He hasn't watched
why.
it since?
No, never. He would swear that it's in color.
Whoa, oh, like you did with African Queen.
Yes, exactly, it's funny, the first time I ever watched that movie, I think I was right around that age. So no, instead I picked a movie starring Cary Grant from 1959 called North by Northwest.
Never seen it. Looking forward to it.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I'm so excited to introduce you to this movie. You can watch it for free on Tubi, but I'm pretty sure that would be commercials, so instead I highly recommend you renting this movie from Amazon Prime.
Works for me. It's likely what I'll have to do.
Alrighty, well, I hope you enjoy it. I can't wait to hear your reaction next Wednesday when we are covering Hitchcock movies. Speaking of directors who were creeps in real life, damn it. Well, it's because he's dead that we can do this.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you'll tell some of the horrible behind-the-scenes stories about him when you're talking about The Birds.
Maybe.
So tune in next week to hear all the behind-the-scenes trivia of those 2 movies. And in the meantime, please rate, review, and subscribe to our show. Feel free to contact us and, especially send us any Christmas movies that you would like to recommend or that you think we've missed, because I don't have a lot more Christmas movies that I enjoy.
I have a lot of Christmas-esque movies that like either start at Christmas or end at Christmas that are not really Christmas movies.
Right.
They're just Christmas
Seasonal.
is in the movies.
Yeah.
They're seasonal type movies. But I've got a decent arsenal left over, so I can get us through, I think, the next couple of years.
Okay. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, film is a form of art, and in art, every opinion is valid. Except if you think.
You can't make a movie about people above 60 falling in love.
Aw. Well, if you have Nancy Myers behind the camera, you can.
Yes, indeed.
All right, everyone, thanks again, and bye-bye.
Cheers, everybody.